Who said the Premier League was going to be difficult? Welcome back to Where Tigers Walk. First ever Premier League victory over Manchester United, and what a day out that was at the MKM this Saturday. 2-0, and put all the pundits back in their place. How are you all doing? This is 20 minutes of reviewing every single Hull City game in the Premier League at the 26 and 27 season. I'm Mark, I'm a neutral, and we've got four very, very happy and smug Tigers with us on this week's episode. We've got Elliot, Matty, Ben, and Luke back from watching that demolition of United. Loads of tweets to get through. We're also talking about the Stoke game. We're looking ahead to Coventry away. Could it be 6 points out of 6 for the mighty Tigers? And 1 week of the transfer window to go. Who do we need to get through the door? And we're looking at some kits as well. What have we made of the home and away kits this season? So, where do we start this week, Elliot? I wonder what's on your mind. Loads of great stuff coming out of social media this week from Hull. Luke saying 1-11, absolutely fantastic. Physio slipped in the back door, headed home. Thank you for saving us from noise pollution. Was the commentary, and yeah, absolutely love it. Look, this club's been through a lot, Elliot. Does it just make it all that sweeter then when that second goal in particular hit? This is what we follow football for, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think in terms of days that I've had sort of supporting City, it's definitely up there. Just absolute everything about that game. It just went perfectly, and as Luke sort of summed it really well, from 1 to 11, you couldn't fault anyone, and even the subs that came on, they were all absolutely excellent, and the crowd was fantastic. And obviously, you had the whole train issue for United fans, and there was some jest taken out of that, and everything just seemed to go our way. And it was just one of them amazing days at the MKM where it was just magical.
Yeah. It's usually Ben at this point I ask you for who impressed you, but I'm not sure you're going to be able to answer that question this week, are you? I mean, there's not a single negative I can find online. Who did stood out for you then?
I think the main standout for me was probably Tzolakis. I know we spoke about him a lot last week, being the one to sort of look out for across the season. But I think, like the guys have said, like Luke said in his post, every single player, I don't think you can pick a fault with any of them. But Tzolakis just gives you so much confidence when the ball comes to him. He's so calm, he's so collected on the ball. I mean, it's hard to compare against Pandor because I know he was a great keeper for us, but it's just so much more reassuring when you've got a goalkeeper like that that's even a bit taller than Pandor is, and he's just that calming presence from the back all the way to the front. And I think for me, Tzolakis was and is probably going to be one of our important players, and a lot of people have transferred him in on FPL. I noticed that.
I'm one of them. Sorry. Yeah. Matty, this was not a fluke victory. It wasn't one of those 1-0 scruffy, goes off a post dodgy penalty. This was a well-deserved, much by far the better team Hull City victory. Can you remember the last time you beat United? I mean, it didn't happen in the Premier League. Do you remember it before that? Were you old enough?
No, but did we beat him in the cup?
There's a cup victory, isn't there?
Yeah, we beat him in the cup, didn't we, a few years ago? But no, I'm not that old, Mark.
Okay.
I know I'm the oldest one on the crew, but I'm not that old to remember that. But certainly not. Right. But yeah, like Elliot said, I was reminiscing. We were reminiscing with a pint after the game, saying, "Is this possibly the greatest home game that I've ever been to?" And it probably would be up there, I would suggest. Like you say, we absolutely dominated them, and they had that midfield trio that they had against Crooks and Slater. Crooks and Slater were immense. They were absolutely immense. They were unbelievable all over the place. And I think the stats came out today, didn't it, with Crooks, he covered 12 kilometres or something like that. Just what a marker to put down to the Premier League and just shut everybody up, because it's been great. It's been amazing just to see all the feedback on social media and just look. We might still finish towards the bottom, but you know what? We're here for a journey. We're here to have a good time, and if anything goes by Saturday, then I think we're well in with a shout of staying up.
Yeah. I've seen Europe is on the cards by a few as well, which love the whole sense of humour. Right, Luke, talk to me about this fella for me, please. I think we've got many videos going back last year where this guy was just top of our show. We tried to get him on a couple of times because he was such an unsung hero last season, but we still want him. Come on, the agent must be watching. I'm not going to finish this show without Giles on here. Luke, how good was he?
Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. I mean, it looks like at one point Jallo was out the club. You know, the fans had kind of turned their back on him. He didn't look like he wanted to be here. Yeah, I mean, just someone needs to study the comeback mental. It's just night and day. And now he looks like he's loving his football.
Yeah. I've still got those. I think I've got tweets from Middlesbrough fans saying he's one of the worst players I've ever seen at Middlesbrough. Yeah.
I think there's someone here that we had.
I think that 12 kilometres for Crooks is it's not very fair, is it? It's only about 4 steps for a minute, something like that.
We just shout the manager here, Elliot, as well, because I mean, look, you know, there's been some. I think it was, I forget, it might have been Luke that did the stats of it, that he copied the game or copied the tactics against AC Milan or Inter Milan. I can't remember, but yeah, he's actually played the same system that beat United over the summer. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know how true that will be, but yeah, Hull could be tough.
To be a bit of a seems to be some mind games going on in pre-season. With, you know, I think it was behind the scenes there was always going to play a 5, and then all pre-season they've played a 4, and then it's just he's caught Carrick with his pants down. It's just he's played a 5. No one's expecting it. But to be honest, the system, he could have played whatever system he wanted. That 11 just wanted it more. And I don't know when it stops being part of being a good player, is that you need to want it. You know, you need to want it. You need to have some aggression. You need to get stuck into tackles. You can be as technical as you want and as much money as you want. If you don't want it, you know, that's what stood out for me massively on that opening day. And we just need to make sure Coventry, that's where we do it again. It's no good. One day we've got to, as good as it was, we've got to like buy into that now. This is what we're capable of. Let's go again.
Yeah. Let's talk about this fella for me, please, Elliot, as well. Steve says, yeah, you lad, when you came on, you were immense. Douglas says, we realise this young man. He has a future. Yeah. Talk to me about his qualities, please, Elliot.
Yeah, he was really comfortable when he came on. You know, for an 18-year-old, he didn't look like he was 18. He stood up to the task really well. Same when he came on in the friendly, he just did everything that he needed to do. He's tall. He's not afraid to be a little bit physical as well. And he's got a confidence about him in the way he speaks as well. Like he feels like he belongs. And I think certainly over this season, we'll see Harrington progress and become potentially one of our main starters. If he keeps going as he is, obviously we've got plenty of players in defence who did a fantastic job as well, but he's certainly one for the future. And for us to have him on a 5-year deal is very positive, because if somebody wants him in the next year or two, they're going to have to fork out a bit of money for him.
Yeah. Absolutely thrilled for you fellas. Those Tim Walter days, Ben, feel so long ago when you were watching. What do we call it? Was it called Volta Ball in the end?
Yeah, Volta Ball.
How happy are you for action? I mean, I know it's one result, and let's not get carried away. But yeah, let's get carried away, because he's had his detractors, hasn't he? He's had his critics, but you know, fair dues to the guy. You know, he's literally put his money to his mouth. He's backed the club, and to see him in the stands there celebrating must have been good to see as well. Yeah,
I mean, it's obvious when, like, his first motto that stuck forever. It's one family, one dream, and that's. I saw an interview with Crooks and Slater on, I think it was TNT afterwards, after the game, and they were saying that the dressing room and the environment just feels like a big family. And I think that's the sort of thing that Atcham's brought in with him. And it's that, I think that might be part of the reason why City got through to the playoffs on the last day last season. And then they've beaten arguably the best Premier League side ever, not side, but club in terms of Man United on the first day. And then I think that just shows you that he's brought so much back to the club. We were missing that before he was there with obviously the Alams. The club was in a bad way, but I think I'd like to say everyone's back on side with Atcham now. There might be some that still doubt him, but I think he's he's put his money where his mouth is, and he said, I can't remember how long ago it was, but was it like 5 years in the future he wants to be in the Premier League? He's done that. We'll see where we go from now.
Okay. Matty, the result resounded obviously really well in Hull, but it'll be felt a lot around the football community, because just to touch on, and we're not going to call out any names here, but there was a couple podcasts in particular that had a little bit, well, not just a little bit, had a dig at Hull, not just as a club but as a city as well. And the one thing you don't do, certainly I've learned in this industry, you don't offend a community, especially a proper working class place like Hull that is built on hard work and graft and communities. It was out of order, wasn't it? And rightly called out by, I think, nearly everyone, particularly 904 Club as well. I thought they were great in calling it out, and shout outs to them. Ashton himself as well. Are we in danger though of, when these things happen, highlighting these idiots more? Should we try to do more as a fan base to just ignore them rather than retweeting them and showing them as idiots?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's all in social media, and there would have been some kind of thing behind him saying it as well, won't there? To try, it's clickbait at the end of the day, isn't it? So he's done that as well. Kind of, there is a purpose behind what he's saying, because he's probably he knows that they're gonna get a response out of it from the community. But I think as well, if you look at what he said after it as well, he did actually say some positive things about it, but just that short clip about it obviously then gets cut down and put out on social media. So for that, what he said was out of order, but then he does have a positive thing after it. I'm not condoning what he said at all, because like you say, he's come from wherever, he's in London or whatever background he's come from. He's probably come from a similar place. He's a working class city, but we're extremely proud. We're proud of what we are. We're proud of the club. We're proud of this. We're proud of the city. We're proud of the people that come from there. We all support our local team, which was the chant on Saturday, which we do, and we get behind them. So I think we're entitled to have our opinion about it now that we're on the big stage, and give how positive the city is, because there is a lot going on for the city. It does get a lot of bad press across the whole country, but hopefully having us in the Premier League and putting us back on the map in terms of what we did on Saturday. I mean, just look at the atmosphere there. Just look at the game, and you'll watch back on Match of the Day. What an atmosphere! It was absolutely rocking, and we did full credit to the Premier League, and we did, but more importantly, we did full credit to the city, the players, the fans, the supporters, the owner. Everybody has put Hull right up there on a positive platform.
Absolutely, looking forward to my visit in October. It's now a Sunday game. Drop the kids off at the Deep, and I'll come to see you.
Hull Fair's on, Mark. You can take
Hull
Fair, and then they can.
Right, let's switch tack then, shall we? Let's look at the games coming up this week. First of all, Stoke, Luke. This will be out at the same time as the Stoke game. Is that they don't care about this? Mark Robbins is on the verge of being sacked. Silver Thomas might be coming back, and the team coach with you as well. Do you care about the cup? Where is it in the priorities for Hull?
My initial thought is, let's get rid of this. We don't want to be focusing on this, but when you actually look at it, we've probably got a lot of players who could do with some minutes. You've got the international break. You've only got one game a week for quite a while in the Premier League, so you're going to have players who aren't playing, and that could help our, the 11 that started, this week. They've got a full week, and then a full week, and a full week. So it's not like the Championship. It will give us a good chance, especially when you've got other teams in Europe as well. But I think it's a good thing. I'd probably put the lads who aren't getting the minutes and tell them to have a go. We don't want to be going out of it for no reason.
Okay. And then last season, Elliot, the season started with a trip to Coventry. It was a 0-0 thriller. I remember it well. And who'd have thought, coming away from that game, that at least that would be a Premier League fixture next season. Now they're going to mark this as a must-win. This is 3 points on their calendar. Is it a must-win? Is it must win for you? When you look at the games
Saturday,
you need to get 3 points.
Yeah, I think after Saturday, it feels a lot. It doesn't feel as vital, but I would certainly take a point on the basis of the fact that it's their first Premier League home game for 25 years, and they're going to be well up for it. And equally, it's one of them games, as you say, you look at and you think we really need to try and get something from that, because after that we've got Aston Villa. I know they were beaten quite convincingly on the weekend, and then you've got Chelsea, Newcastle back to back away. So we probably need to try and at least get something. And I feel like if we get a point, at least 4 points from the first 2 games, I'll just snap your hand off for that. So, but we still, I think, if we can get the win, it would definitely take the pressure off the following 3 games. Not saying that it's okay to go and lose all 3, but it would definitely put us in a very good position.
Yeah. Away from home, Ben, last year, Hull were pretty decent. In fact, some of the better performances and more points came away from home than they did at the MKM. Do you expect to see Sergej stick with the same kind of approach he took, the pragmatic approach in the Championship to away games?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't. I think it works. It works well because he's very adaptable, and I think when obviously you've got comparing us last season, Coventry were by far the best Championship side, and we've got to, as Elliot said, go to their ground for their first Premier League game in 25 years. There's going to be moments of the game where we're up against it. I know you'd have sort of expected that against Man United, but there definitely will be, and the atmosphere will be bouncing. So there's going to be times when they're going to need to maybe drop an extra couple back and sit as like a 5 at the back and just soak up the pressure and do what we did so well last season and well on the weekend, where we counter-attack and we're able to score from it or create chances. So I think he will. I think the lineup, so long as some of the injuries hopefully aren't too serious, the ones that went off on Saturday, I think the lineup will probably be pretty similar, depending on if we get any new faces in the next couple of days in the transfer window. But yeah, I think I'd go with similar lineup, but be ready to adapt, because you know you're going to get some sort of onslaught at some point in the game because they're going to be well up for it.
Okay. I'll leave you to wrap up the transfer rumours in a second, but first I want your views on these, as we usually do at this point in the year. Matty, your thoughts and reflections on the quality and design of the home kit, please.
Home kit's really lovely. Like it looked good on Saturday, and yeah, it is actually a really, really lovely kit. I popped into the club shop at the weekend to see if I could get some, but it unfortunately all sold out. The away shirt is crap, I'm not going to lie, but I'll leave somebody else to review that.
Don't mince your words to that.
Just before we move on to the away shirt, I mean, the shirt, yes. White shorts with it?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? I mean,
yeah, I think. Well, yeah. I think they might have gone black. I think it's such a shame because, and I'm sorry if you've already got this, guys. I'm sorry about that. But like, I went. It's just like the badge on the home stuff. It's actually embroidered on, whereas the away one, it's kind of into the material. It's not. It worked great. I wasn't mega impressed with it. I like the design of it. It looks good, but I think it could be. I think it could be better. It could be a lot better than what it is. But yeah, I would go on black shorts personally with it. Obviously, if we've got white shorts for the home, and it possibly will be, but. We've got Newcastle in a couple of weeks, so what we're going to go with. So will there be a third kit out? So there's got to be a third kit out, isn't there, at some point. So,
Luke, your thoughts?
I think the home kit is going to be iconic. The only thing I'd change on it is the badge. I would have put the crest on it, even if it was just the like a more modern version of it. I would have put that on it. I think that would just with the branding in the Premier League and whatnot. I would have gone with that. I think it's going to be iconic, that kit, compared to some of the slop what you've got in the Premier League, what's just copy and paste. Every Adidas and every Nike kit's just the same in different colours.
Yeah, okay.
The away kit, I mean, what we'll say as well, the home kit, I think, does look better in the flesh, because I was a bit worried about it when I first saw it. But yeah, and it fits good. It's decent, does the job. I think that, interestingly, I think a lot of people were saying, I know my son's got the away kit, and in the label it says third shirt. So there was something about that was going to be the third kit, not the second, and something to do with Premier League. I don't know if it was something to do with the Premier League or whatnot, but yeah, should see a third shirt.
We have for the man with more Hull City kits than anyone walking the planet to get his view on it. Ben?
I like them both. Sorry to be one of those happy clappers, but I like them both. I think they're both very smart. I like the home one. I think it's the reason why there's white shorts with it is because it's going back to when it was like the retro. I can't remember what the year it was exactly, but I think the one thing I will say about the home kit, I thought it was very nice when it came out, but I think it does look even better with the Corendon on the front. I think it looked all right, but there's also that massive talking point of everyone saying about the big black square on the back with the numbers, but it don't bother me. I think it looks nice as it is. And the away kit, I think, also looks nice. We've not had a central badge since, I think, one of the first seasons we got promoted, which is a fun fact for everyone. Absolute kit nerd.
No. Right, I will leave you to it then. 7 days-ish now for the transfer window slams shut on Tuesday, the 1st of September. So, what needs to happen? And also talk about players going out as well. Fill in all the rumours. Here is an extra 5 minutes of Hull City rumour chat, and I will see you the other side of Coventry. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, lads. What I was looking at is the Sorba Thomas deal, and I'm thinking, if we are going to go in for him, why aren't we using someone who's on the fringe as a sweetener? Why aren't we looking at Irma, JB, Akintola? Why aren't we using some of these boys to, even if it's a loan, could we ship them out and get him a bit cheaper and do a championship club a favour? That should be looked at really, because we're obviously not going to want all them still here, are we? Come deadline day.
No, and I think you're right. We need to get rid of some of these because they aren't even going to be in the squad, are they? So it's going. I think just from Saturday, I think that I think McBurney being so good as he was, he's still. We can't be reliant of having McBurney in 90 minutes, aren't we? So hopefully, is it this Anso from the Bundesliga, and then there's still ongoing talks, aren't we, with Chow and Hernandez, isn't they? So where else do you reckon we need to strengthen in terms of positions? Are there any other positions you reckon?
I tell you,
winger, I think still.
Yeah, winger. I think the match kind of changed my mind a little bit. I thought we needed a couple more to come in and replace what we've got, but we maybe only need. I think if we can get someone who's Jakirovic seems to have like a strong structure now from the back. But we need that one who can make the difference. We're only going to get 1 or 2 chances in some matches, and you can't rely on McBurney to do it all the time. I think we need someone who can turn that draw into a win, with a bit of magic, which Bloomy could be that player, but it'd be nice to have another one. And I think if they could get an Anders over the line, I think that might be the one. I think they've put a lot of effort into that one, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think with the Hernandez one, it's one of them where we've been chasing him a little bit, and obviously he's going to be probably our real big marquee signing by the sound of the transfer fee. So I feel like if we can get that over the line, as you say, that could be very beneficial. And I think that Mohamed Ali Chur as well is pretty much done now. And we've got him for quite a fee which is significantly cheaper than first reported. Yeah. So I think bringing in those two will strengthen us. I think, to be fair to him, Liam Miller came on and did a decent job, and he was very energetic on Saturday. And even like Paddy McNair as well. I know some people have said for him to be to leave this window, but he's got sort of came on, did a job. He's experienced enough, and probably quite underrated having those sorts of players that will come on and put that effort in, and you can rely on them and depend on them even for just 20 minutes just to come on and see a game out.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the only other area for me is still fullback. I know Coyle, he had an exceptional game, didn't he, Saturday? And I know we're always going on about him, aren't we? But there's going to be the point where he is going to dip down. Drame came on and actually did quite well as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's just that, I suppose it's just having that versatility, having somebody to fill in at right back. Could one of the centre backs potentially go there? I know McNair did it a little bit, didn't he, towards the end of last season? But I still could see with us strengthening in a full back position, just in case. Coyle seems to he seems to be all right, didn't he? Was it cramped? You reckon on Saturday?
I think all of them are going to be, from what I hear, I think they're all going to be all right. I think there's which is big news, isn't it, really, for Coventry? That's It's massive. I think it's a struggle with a right back, like it's a struggle with a striker, because we haven't got enough funds to kind of bring someone bigger, So you kind of bring in someone who's going to play second fiddle, and then but someone who's decent enough to do it as well. I think that striker, the 6'6" lad, it sounds like that's the right balance, because he's 21. He's going to come in and learn. He's obviously going to have to wait for his chance, but if he can come on for 20 minutes, because that is the one thing. Them lads can't do that every week for 90 minutes. Some of them was out on the feet at 70 minutes, and that's when I was getting a little bit panicky. But so we just need some people to come and take a bit of the load off them, I think.
I think going back to what you said, Luke, about playing second fiddle, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been either Mike White or Baz Cooper that put a post out saying the right back situation, City have been linked with a few players, but their main concern is the fact that the right back that they're coming in afterwards is the captain. So are they going to get as many minutes as they want to? It's tricky, innit? Because there was a lot of talk after the game where people were saying that performance should almost give an extra reason for those players that are like, I don't know whether to go because we've shown what we can do. But it's difficult, innit? Because you'd sort of expect, with Coyle having a good start, he'll get a few more games in the next few. But yeah, it's interesting to see what we're going to do, because there's so many that we're linked with, and then it's like deal nearly complete, and then deal's suddenly off for whatever reason. It's just like it's a circus, isn't it?
Yeah. I do like that, where people's losing their heads with the lad from Nice, and now when we've saved £5 or £6 million by just being sensible. The Betis one's a similar thing. I think they wanted 5 million with a 50%, and now apparently they want 10 after the deal was done. And I think it's good that the club aren't just going, yeah, we'll do that. The club are just holding, still the cards a bit close to the chest. And this Sorba Thomas thing could just be playing a bit of chess. It could be saying we look like we're going for him, but just to make Betis, do what they need to do to get him. So I think there's been they've boxed a bit clever. I think more credit than what they're getting, especially when you look at the signings like Tzolakis, Mendy, Errington. You look at these signings; they aren't mega money like in terms of Premier League, but they look like they'll probably leave us in for a lot more money than what they came.
Yeah, but I think they've done well, haven't they? I think just there was only 4, weren't they, that started on Saturday, but I think the only one for me was Stroud. I think he did have he weren't as effective as possibly he could have been, but I think that was just probably just because he couldn't get into the game. He still worked hard and he still contributed massively. But like you said, Elliot, I thought Miller came on and I thought he was excellent when he came on. To be fair, he had a real hunger, didn't he, about him? And if we could get Miller just to either cross the ball properly or actually contribute in scoring, we have actually got a player there. So it's like.
Yeah. Looks like you just a bit of a confidence issue with Miller, doesn't it?
Well, you do want to dip into the market, don't you, to get people, but then equally you've got somebody there that is there. He just needs that bit of a boost, doesn't he, to get him. I think the only other thing for me would be do we need another keeper? Just because obviously Butland's out at the moment. Is that cover? Because if Tzolakis, if he gets injured, he was outstanding. If he gets injured, we're relying on Phillips coming in that way in the Premier League, which is, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure about that myself. So, but we'll see.
And on the 1904, I was talking about they're quite keen on Collier still.
Yes,
about bringing him in. So, that could be one. If you can do that for the right price, it could be a great deal to have.
There's a couple of championship players there, that if you can bring in for 7-8 million, if you can bring in a few of those, like I know we were linked with that lad from Norwich, Toure, weren't we? And the lad from Swansea's not even been picked up yet, has he? The striker that was top scorer last year. So, and I don't know if he's been linked with anybody. I don't know, but I presume it'd be a bit of money. But yeah, there's a few.
It seems like everyone. We've seen it so often, haven't you? Where someone has one good season in the championship, and then they want 20 million. Then you're like, it's like, what if you don't do it again this season? He suddenly drops back to a 5 million player, doesn't he? So it's a bit of a risk. I always think. Just think of the kid from Norwich, Pookie, is it? It was like he didn't do anything, and then 2 unreal seasons, did he? And then his price was massive. But yeah, it'd be good. I think the lad from Swansea, Vipotnik, is it? I think he is probably the real deal. But again, would he want to come and play? I don't think he's going to start in front of McBurney, is he? And I quite like that the lads look like they're saying, well, someone's got to come in and take my spot, because I haven't, some of them look like different players. I said last week I would worry about Crooks and Slater both starting in the middle in the Premier League every week. And then you just look at it, then you think you watch the games this week and there's not many midfielders you'd put in front of them. So, yeah, I mean, the key thing for me is, can we carry that on, though? Can we carry that on? If we can do that again in the Coventry game and be disciplined and get up for it, then we're happy. But it's just doing it right through this big season, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think the concern I had on Saturday was, if we did go with Cooks and Slater, then United had the 3 midfielders, and I felt like, are we going to get a bit overrun, especially when you've got a player like Bruno Fernandes in there and Tielemans as well, who are both very capable. But they had absolutely no issues whatsoever, and they were both Crooks and Slater were fantastic. And I think the key thing for those two is their energy during the game. Like, Crooks can run for 90 minutes, Slater can run for 90 minutes, and they're just non-stop. And it's good when you have players like that you can rely on. And I think Balumi did well, to be fair, as well, to last the full 90 minutes. I sort of see him as a bit more of a 60 to 70 minute player, just to not overplay him and then maybe get him injured, because he has obviously had a lot of injury issues in the last 2 years. But I thought he did really well, up and down constantly, and going right till the end. And yeah, as you say, Luke, the key thing now is just to build on that and make sure it's not like a flash in the pan, because otherwise hopefully we don't get sort of like found out by the other teams quickly, and hopefully we can continue to sort of surprise people in the next few weeks.
I think the one player who hasn't been mentioned massively is Egan. I thought he was just immense.
Yeah.
I was watching him off the ball and non-stop talking. He was just dragging Mendy and Ajayi. He was just telling him where to be, what man to be on all game, and he just like completely managed that the back 5 and the 2 in front of him, the midfielders. And you think, you take someone like that out of the team, it's not just what he's doing. The 18 clearances or whatever the number was, a massive number. It's not just that. It's completely organising everyone and motivating and telling them where they should be. And you take someone like that, it's just like having a second manager on the pitch, pretty much, having that. I think what the noises you hear at what he's been like since he came to the club, because he wasn't really getting a look in when he first came, was he? I don't think, and I don't think he was happy about that. And obviously, the more he plays and the more he's involved around the team, it seems better. I think we've got some real good characters, and that's probably one of the biggest strengths. Even if they do come out the team this year, I think they'll be still there, helping all the lads, making sure we get a result every week, or making sure we get up for the games.
Yeah, I think Egan's getting a new contract, or it's been reported that they're giving him a contract extension. And I think there was obviously Slater as well, and Dean Holden I saw was reported today as well. So we're able, hopefully, to keep some of these people around who have been so influential over the last sort of like 12 to 18 months in keeping us up and then going up, and then hopefully surviving this year.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to be proud of, isn't there?
Yeah. What do we do now? Do we just leave?
I think Mark just says to leave, and he edits the bit out where it's like,
well, we're talking.
Were you talking about leaving?
Yeah.
Leaves it in as a blooper.
Yeah.
Nice one, lads. I'm going to shoot anyway, but top work again.
Cheers, lads. Cheers.
Thanks, lads. See you all later.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.